Hello, I'm Bartling, and I certainly hope that you and yours are having yourself and will continue to have a brighter summer day. Well, it's another day, and I still think. The older I am, the more that I think. And every day I'm getting older, and every day it seems like I'm thinking. I shared with you in the past some stories from places that I've been in this whole life's journey. But some of you said, now, what about the place where you spent over 16 years of your life? You went through junior high, you went through high school, you bought your first car, you got your first speeding ticket, you went through college, all in that same place. You buried your two grandparents. You got baptized. Why, you even got married there. I'm speaking of Nebraska. So here are some stories and experiences of Nebraska. You might be Nebraskan if you can identify with some of these items here. You know, the football team and the other athletic teams are called the Nebraska Cornhuskers. One legend is that a newspaper writer said, boy, you know those boys out there playing football, I bet they can sure husk a lot of corn. Thus the name Cornhuskers. You see, they always weren't called the Nebraska Cornhuskers. No, not at all. They were even called the Bug Eaters. Imagine being on the team. What team do you play for? I play for the Bug Eaters. And you can be assured that Husker Day is a very special one in the state of Nebraska. While even weddings and other functions, even church, is planned around the Husker schedule. Go Big Red. You may have heard of that. Nebraskans, they like their red beer. They just like their beer with tomato juice. No spices to speak of. Kind of plain. And don't make a face, but chili and cinnamon rolls, they are perfect together. A little sweet and spicy, pretty darn good. And you could put Dorothy Lynch dressing, made around Columbus, Nebraska, on everything. Salads, shrimp, even barbecue. Yes, there really was a Dorothy Lynch. And in the 1940s, Dorothy made her special concoction of salad dressing, and she was going to take it to an American Legion function in St. Paul, Nebraska. And the rest, as they say, is history. And you can be assured, in our fridge, there is some Dorothy Lynch, even here in South Dakota. And runzas are to sandwiches like calzones are to pizzas. Now, a runza is a pocket sandwich, I think kind of unique to Nebraska. It's a pocket sandwich that has cheese, hamburger, little bits of onion, and little cabbage. Now, everyone practically here in Nebraska says at one time that they had seen a sighting of the Oracle of Omaha. Yes, Warren Buffett. You know, Warren lives in the same house that he bought years ago, and he bought that house for $30,000. And even big city Nebraska, even big city Nebraskans such as Omaha, GI, Columbus, Lincoln, they will still give you that small town howdy, that small town wave when you're on the road. I mean, kind of like this. So you're driving, here they come, they're going to give you a howdy do. Where I lived, there was a gentleman, Howard Lewis. Now, Howard was a tall, skinny guy. And when he would drive, he would bend over and he would put almost his whole arm on the steering wheel and kind of guide it this way. But when he saw you, he would give you a howdy. He would give you a howdy. Now, I also learned kind of the Native American way to say hello that was it. A nod and your lips would kind of come out. And if I give you directions, I'd say, which way do I need to go for this? I would just go, that'd be it. Then maybe I'd say, we're in it. But that was the way, the Native American way, if you would. Those very red beef hot dogs, they're the only hot dogs. And the Haymarket District in Lincoln, that's where all the cool kids eat. That's where all the cool kids eat. And there's nothing more delicious than fresh, homemade, fresh, maybe just hours before, homemade cream puffs made by my sister-in-law, Arla. Now she lives with a bunch of Swedes in a little town, a village called Oakland, Nebraska. Well, maybe just as good might be potato soup with nubs, made by LaDonna's mom, Laverne, who also lives in Oakland, Nebraska. Now, of course, in those 16 years, I've also heard stories. So here's just a few. Like the action taken by the Dear Woman, protector of ill-treated women. Or the love and ghost story of the legend of Blackbird Hill. You might want to Google the legend of Blackbird Hill, Nebraska. And of course, there are times where truth is stranger than fiction. For example, here's a story that was told to me while I was enjoying some potato soup with knobs and cream puffs. Now notice I said puffs, meaning plural, because I had more than one, believe me. Once upon a time, in Oakland, Nebraska, where most of LaDonna's relatives now live, Oakland received a grant for stepped-up police protection. This grant was a very large sum of money. And a local policeman there, now no, his name wasn't Barney, was to be then trained as a SWAT member. Yes, he had all the gear that you would see a tactical ready SWAT member, ready for any situation. He had all that gear. Now, he wore all that gear all the time. So you would see him patrolling Oakland in his SWAT gear. Now, Oakland has a population of 1,500. Now, also included in this, what's called the SWAT package, was a dog. This dog was to be trained as a drug sniffing dog. Now, it was during this training period that the two of them had to go to Kearney, Nebraska. Now, Kearney, Nebraska is kind of in the middle of Nebraska itself along Interstate 80. So he loads up his special SUV. Yes, he has a special SUV, SWAT SUV, and all his gear that he needs. And he's on his way to Kearney, Nebraska. He gets probably halfway there, and he suddenly realizes that he forgot the dog. So he turns around, goes and gets the dog, gets back on the trail to Kearney, Nebraska. Well, by the time that he got there, he had missed out on some very important training to get him and the dog certified. So even though he was there a week, he did not come back certified. They had to reschedule him and the dog for the next year. Now you may ask, did he go back the next year? No, he did not. In fact, he quit the police force. You may ask, well, what's he doing now? He is a teacher. And so far, I haven't been able to find out what happened to the dog. And for the rest of the story, the auditor caught that the police chief of Oakland absconded with a very, very, very large sum of money that was to be allocated for official police business. And that police chief, he moved to Minnesota and was not prosecuted at all. And now the town of Oakland, their police protection comes from the county sheriff, which is 20 miles away. So, when you ask a Nebraskan, what does the N stand for? Many will say Nebraska. But others will say, that N, well, that's N stands for knowledge. Yes, truth is stranger than fiction. And I fondly remember those 16 years. Hey, why don't you reflect upon some of the different places that you live and think of the stories and experiences and share them with some family members. Remember, I'm rooting for you because we're in this together. Until we talk again, you take care.